What's up? It's your man, Marv Glover.
And the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the chiseled Adonis.
And welcome to the Hold My Nuggets podcast here where we talk 50% sports, 50% real shit, 100% of the time. And if you don't like that, you can hold my nuggets.
Suck my dick.
Welcome to episode number 17. And boy, oh boy, this one will be a doozy. First and foremost, how are you, my brother?
Well, I'm a little bit exhausted.
Yeah,
we just had to run about 4 blocks to get here.
Yeah, we was a little late.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to got the podcast.
But you know what's hilarious is we started running at the same point.
Well, I think I started running
made
before
it
you.
here about 3 minutes before you.
Yes, you did.
So what happened? I thought you was athletic. I thought the Cowboys had you on their squad.
First of all, I think I did a pretty good job. I think I think I was smoking you in the beginning. I was cooking you something crazy. You see my form, huh? I was whoosh, 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 Marv Bolt.
Were you playing Fruit Ninja in your mind?
No, that was the win.
I just want to know why you have 4 layers of gray on. Because you had a gray sweater that you took off.
The people who are
then you got these gray long johns.
Yes, sir.
With 2 other shirts underneath. They all just so happen to be gray.
Yeah.
With gray sweats on and gray shoes. I just want to know what the infatuation with gray is.
I think I look good. Let's start off with that. It's fashion. You see, you wouldn't know nothing about that. You know what I'm saying?
It's fashion.
Yeah, shout out to Andrew Schultz. Yeah, fashion. Yeah.
Did you see how much money this man was making?
It's too much money. We bounced. Hold on. We just bounced amongst 3 topics within like 10 seconds. So let's go one by one. First of all, I think I run just fine. Let's start off there. Well, if you had to grade what you just saw athletically, what would you give me?
A strong 2.5.
Well,
matter of fact, no, a strong 2.7.
Why is that? What did and didn't you see?
Well, the form looked nice.
Yeah,
but that's entirely what the grading is for. The speed, terrible. The endurance, terrible. I would have to say,
hold on.
The only thing that's working here is the fact that you actually had a good running form.
Yeah, to appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't want to make you feel uncomfortable because you have the athletic background. You know what I'm saying, in football and things of that nature.
Make me feel uncomfortable.
Nah.
You
know what I'm saying? But I think I did that. That's one. 2. Why am I wearing all gray? Why does it bother you that I'm wearing all gray? This wasn't planned, actually. You know what? I live my life like a cartoon character. You know, but a lot of people don't know this. You know this. If I'm usually wearing one color, right? I usually wear all black. That's why I just throwing you off. This is a changing color. I'm saying I got a little gray going. I think it looked good. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
I'm doing things different. I'm getting gray. My beard is coming together. You know, I'm broke. Things are looking good. Things are looking really good.
But you were always broke, though. I mean, the beard is coming together. You were always broke.
Yeah, I think I had a little bit of money. There was a moment in time where my account wasn't overdrafted. But
you know what? Then again, it's just me, projecting my brokenness on other individuals. So, of course, I wouldn't want to be that individual putting the brokenness on you. So I apologize for my outburst.
I'm not getting money.
Me getting money. I don't get money. I don't get money.
I mean, aren't you the
I don't understand money, so how can I get money?
But aren't you the senior ambassador of Hot Mics? A lot of people don't know this. This man actually just signed a $2 million deal with an app called Hot Mics. He is the face of an app. I'm not on your level. I'm not. I'm just not. You're the color commentator, all right, for the Hold My Nuggets Incorporated. There's that. You're doing a lot of big things.
Well, then again, I wouldn't really consider myself a color commentator anymore because the commentator from out in what happened in San Francisco, that's a real color commentator.
What did he say again? Dark-skinned man?
Yeah, he said it's kind of hard to peep the handoffs. That's such a dark hand on the football.
People, you know, it's funny. If you tune into this man's commentaries, he says way worse things.
Oh, absolutely.
You've said some interesting things. The names that you give certain people themselves.
Hey.
Yeah. What do we got? We got Mitch, I'm not a bitch, Trubisky. That's one.
Absolutely.
Drew Brees is Jesus. A lot of people know that one. Who else is it? Kirk, family cousin. Is that what it is?
Kirk, family member cousin.
Family member cousin. Then you got a
Derek
lot
Vehicle. A lot of different names.
Damar. So was it something Robinson? You got a lot of shit.
Oh, Alan. No, I don't raise any kleptomaniacs. My child's not a Robinson. Hey, man.
You got a lot of shit.
Play on names. Yeah, it's not that difficult.
Yeah, but we here now, man.
Hold my absolutely.
Who knew we was gonna make it to 17?
Nobody
knew. We were gonna make it to 17.
Nobody knew he was gonna make it to week 7. Nobody knew he was gonna make it to 17.
I didn't know he was gonna make it to 17.
I'll tell you what's not gonna make it to 17. I should say what's not gonna make it to 18. Because week 18 would be the wild card. And who might not be making it? It's Dem Boyz. Because right now,
come on now,
down in Jerry World,
Fatick,
Amari Cooper, Banter S, Skip Bayless, Troy Aikman on commentary.
Your boy Marv Glover, Natural One Lover.
All of them. Covers. What's going on in Dallas land, man? Because right now it's looking like they're going to be too busy during the playoff season to pull up. So what's transpiring down in Jerry World?
I don't know. First of all, I should be upset, but I'm not. I actually find the whole thing very humorous because we are sitting at 6-7 and we look like we might just win our division. That is hysterical to me. Not only are we looking like we might win our division, but if we do win our division, we're looking like, depending on what kind of record we have, because I will give you credit where credit is due. You did say that it's looking like 8-8 or 9-7 will win the division. Mm-hmm. Now, a couple weeks ago, I thought that was a little bit insane. I thought 10-6 at least was going to get it done. 9-7 seemed a bit much. But now here we are, 6-7. Looking like, who we play next? The Rams? And then after that, 2 back-to-back divisions games? I don't know. The whole thing is hysterical.
It's fitting Jason Garrett's coach because it's looking like Clap City.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
what it's looking like right now.
It's also fitting because it's looking like chances are we might end up 8-8, and this might be his last season as a head coach, which at one point in time he was known as Mr. 8-8, and it's looking like he's going to go out on his name, 8-8. So it is what it is. Mm-hmm. What's going on in Jerry? I don't know, bro. I really don't know. Once again, I should be upset. And I am, because we should be doing better, because roster-wise, we have everything that we need to be what we were expected to be coming into this season, which was a Super Bowl winning team. And it looked beautiful in the beginning. We started off 3-0, right? A lot of people, including myself, we were pumping our chest, especially since, while my team was 3-0, your team was 0-3. And how the tables have turned.
Oh, absolutely.
How the tables are.
I heard Adele was singing at the conclusion of Week 13. It's time to say goodbye. We're turning tables.
Once again, I don't deny, I don't go against your football knowledge a lot, but you did say from the middle of the season there's still a whole lot of football left to be played, and I wasn't trying to hear that. And here we are now at 6-7. And
next time I'll be greater. I'll be my own.
You can't sing. I don't even know what was going on right now.
On my own 2 feet.
It's bad.
Next time I'll be
this
greater.
Man is about to audition for our old church choir. That's what it's looking like. It's not necessary. We might get copyrighted because of what you're doing. I mean, you are King Copyright himself.
Indeed, I am.
And that's what YouTube said.
Indeed, I am.
But in regards to what's going on with my team, I'm watching a lot of these games, and for the most part, it's pretty much a lot of the same thing. A lot of games, we just come out flat, and we stay flat for 3.5 quarters, and then miraculously, out of nowhere, in the fourth quarter, that's when we decide to wake up and realize, oh shit, we're here to win a football game.
Yeah.
And we start to put together a comeback, and then within the last seconds of the game, whether it be bad decision making, players not stepping up, it's this, that, or the third. It's a whole bunch of everything, and it's sad.
Because the Dallas Cowboys are a whoopee cushion. They're pretty much the football version of a whoopee cushion.
Why would
they
you say
make
that?
a little bit of noise at first, and then
cute.
after that, they're flat. They don't do anything.
You had that in
so
the... Yeah, I know
I did not. This just came to mind. I am witty. Oh, so witty. So basically, they ain't doing nothing right now. But miraculously, they can still pull off the division.
Yeah.
Now, I still do not choose them to win. I do believe that Philly will be able to walk away with the division because Philly got the Giants twice on Eli Manning's, farewell tour. But I think that Philly can win 3 of their final 4. I think Dallas will win 2 of their final 4.
Okay.
However, of the 3 that Philly wins will be against Dallas. They will both end with the same record at 8-8. And Philly will ultimately go to the playoffs and get clapped by San Francisco. So whatever the case may be, that's where I think their season plays out. But I would say, who do you think is the more pathetic team of the two?
Oh, it's easily Dallas. And even though I'm a fan, I have to be objective because when you look at it, we have everything. Granted, there are some injuries. I think our left guard, Connor Williams, is out with an ACL tear or something like that. And there was a game or two where Amari had his struggles. But it's football. Injuries is a part of the game, so I'm not going to use that excuse. On every level, on both sides of the ball, we have playmakers, and we're sitting at 6-7. And in our first 3-game losing streak, I was looking at it, I'm like, bro, why do we have all of this talent and we just can't seem to get it done on the season? Where, 6-1 against teams that are, I think now 6-2.
6-2
against teams that are 500 or better, and then
no, it's 500 or worse.
500 or 500 or worse. 500 worse.
And then 0-5 against teams that are over 500.
500 or over 500. Over 500.
Yeah.
It has to be us because we have everything. The story of Philly, I haven't really been paying too much close attention to them because there ain't really much to watch. Yeah. From what I'm hearing, Carson Wentz has been underperforming.
He's underperformed, but at the same time, it's pure inconsistency. When the defense shows up, Their offense doesn't.
Okay.
When their offense shows up, their defense doesn't.
Right.
When they played against New England, the offense ain't get off the bus.
All right.
That defense played lights out. Mm-hmm. When they played against Seattle, their offense ain't get off the bus. They played against Miami. Their defense ain't come off the bus. These were games in which one side of the ball came to play. The other side said, all right, I'm going to head out. Matter of fact, I ain't even going to show up.
Yeah.
So it's what's going on? So I would say, but at the same time, I would lean towards more Dallas in saying that they're more of the pathetic team.
Right.
Because at least with Philly and the injuries that they sustained, they were significant. There was a point in which Carson Wentz did not have Djax, which he doesn't have now. Didn't have Aguilar. Pardon me, who cares about Aguilar? Didn't have Alshon Jeffrey.
Butterfingers.
There was a ton of people that was out, and then the people he was throwing to, much like Aguilar, hands was simply for decoration. So they could not catch passes. Like, for example, the game that they lost to Atlanta, they could have won that game. But ultimately, their defense cost them, and that's an L. Right. Miami, defense cost them an L. Against New England, Aguilar could have maybe caught that pass. It was a very tough catch, but this is Nelson Aguilar, so we know you have a history of drops. So anytime you drop a football is going to be a problem. Seattle, 4 times you turned the football over. I think it was 2 picks and 2 fumbles, or maybe 3 fumbles and 1 pick. Whatever the case was, the offense ain't get off the bus. Even when they played against Dallas the first time. It's like all of these games, Philly has found a way to lose, but for Dallas,
we've also found a way to lose.
It's not even only found a way to lose. It's like the first drive, you play football, and then it's
the rest of the game is just like, all right, we're going to take a break. We're just going to take a break. We're just going to hang out.
It's ridiculous. Both these teams are pathetic, but I'd lean more towards Dallas.
Right. And then, when you, like I said, when you look at everything, for me personally, even though I think, like I said, Dallas has been the more pathetic, I don't know if it's the fan in me, but realistically speaking, I just can't see Philly. I think that the second time that we play Philly, because I think Philly's our second to last game.
Yes.
Right? So I think we have the Rams, then we have the Redskins, if I remember correctly. I think.
No. Because I think Philly plays the Redskins. They play
we have
the Redskins.
I think we have the Redskins. Do we?
Because Philly has 4 consecutive divisional
games. Yeah.
So
we
I
play
believe
the Giants
that
twice. Then they have to play the.
No, you guys play the Redskins.
No, I'm talking about the Philly. I'm talking about Philly.
Oh, Philly.
Philly has
the Giants, the Redskins, Dallas, and then the Giants.
Got you. And then we have the Rams, and then I forget. I know, of course, Philly. I think Philly's our second to last game. And then I think the Redskins is
the last game.
Our last game.
I believe the Redskins is the last game.
I don't know what to expect from the Rams game. I think that if there is a divisional game that will lose between it might end up being Philly. Who knows? But all in all, Dallas has to be the more pathetic team, man. I mean, when you look at it, this roster is loaded. The linebackers, Jalen Smith, Van Der Esch, Sean Lee has been able to stay healthy.
What's going on with Van Der Esch? Did he play the last game?
Did he?
I honestly could not tell. I don't recall if he's got anything on the stat line. I know he had issues with the neck,
right.
And
he's had that since like college. Or
and that's what gave a lot of people cause to pause. Because when he's on the field, say, "Yo, he can go,"
right.
But then it's like there's an issue. It's the same thing with like the T.J. Watt versus the guy went to San Francisco. He ended up. He's not even in the league no more because he had the domestic violence joint. He played for Alabama. Reuben Foster. There we go. So
he's not in the league no more?
No, he's not in the league no more. I don't think he's in the league no more.
Got you.
Because he had issues.
Yeah, I remember the domestic violence thing. I didn't know he was out of the league, but I know Reuben Foster.
It's like availability is the best ability is availability. And for Van Der Esch right now, given the neck problems and knowing that football is extremely demanding, and when you're a person who's tackling people, constantly, that neck will come back to hurt. Pause. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but of course, it is, so. Yeah. So with Van Der Esch, if he's not on the field like that, they puts a shot into their linebacking core, which I believe was one of the better linebacking cores in the league. Mm-hmm. Top 3 without question. Mm-hmm. But now Jalen Smith, Sean Lee actually was surprisingly healthy
throughout the season. Very.
So and still defensively they can't get it done. In the secondary, Jones, Awuzie, why am I forgetting? Woods and a couple of other guys. Those guys can ball, but still, guys can't. There'll be one busted coverage. There'll be situations where they can make plays. They don't. And it's really sad. And ultimately, it all trails back to Chlamydia Clap Poppy
Coach Clapp.
And Jason Garrett. Yeah. And I think it's a foregone conclusion. This man doesn't have a
job. Nah.
So.
Nah.
And this man was talking about my singing.
Hey. How good Bye. Coach Clapp. Go ahead, say what you was going to say.
So since we've all come to consensus that this man's
gone.
Out of a job.
He's out of here.
Who do you think should replace him?
Vamonos. He's leaving.
So do you think
he
Jerry
has
Jones?
now exited the building? Player has now left the party. He's gone.
Bob.
He's dead. Deceased.
Maybe
his controller has died. And he has been quarantined from the building. Get that man out of Dallas Cowboys head coaching job position. Now you can speak.
Who do you think should take over as head coach?
I don't know. Because earlier in the season, first of all, we all agreed this man was not supposed to come into the season as a head coach.
Not at all.
But at the same time, Jerry Jones gave him another chance. But at the same time, let him know he was walking on thin ice. That's why he didn't extend him, right? Things were looking good. First 3-game wins, but it was against trash teams. 3-game losing streak. We come back. We just looking mediocre all throughout. Who would replace him? Earlier on, the talk was Chris Richard, right? He was a candidate that was thrown up in there. I remember there was even some talks maybe about trying to see because the talk is that Jerry Jones is only going to look to make in-house moves because he wants to have control. Or he wants to still have a level of control over whoever it is that's the head coach. That's why I always laughed at the Sean Payton rumor, because it's like, ain't nobody going to control Sean Payton. You're going to let Sean Payton's going to come in. He's going to coach his team how he wants to coach his team. Ain't no ifs, ands, buts, or about it. I don't know if the Chris Richard thing is going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it did, but I don't know. Talks have been also about Urban Meyer. I personally would like to see that happen. I remember following Urban Meyer back in his Ohio State coaching days. I'm not sure if he has any NFL experience, but he is definitely one thing that Jason Garrett doesn't. I think he's a leader of men. Mm-hmm. He's someone with personality. He's someone that's going to bring fire and change culture and bring life in Dallas, which is something that they just don't seem to have right now. Everyone kind of just seems to be going through
They have no identity.
They have no identity whatsoever. Everyone seems to just be going through the motions. All right, practice. Let's go play this game. We lose. Do a quick press conference. Do it all over again next week. It seems like nobody there has any real fire behind them. Everyone's kind of just going with the flow of things. I think that a man like Urban Meyer, taking a job like that in a city like that for an organization like that would definitely help to bring life there. So I would like to see that one. I don't know who else. Another name that's been thrown in there is the head coach for OU, Lincoln Riley.
Yes.
I don't know if he seems pretty comfy there in OU, and I'm not too sure if they'll let him go. He has bred now 2 Heisman Trophy winners in a Baker Mayfield and a Kyler Murray. Should have been Jalen Hurts, but that is what it is. So I don't know if he's going to leave OU. So it's looking like Urban Meyer is the guy for the job. I'm not too sure how that'll play out. I'm not really sure about what other NFL, I guess, personnel or people that we could look into. But for right now, for me, I think Urban Meyer would be a good fit. What about you?
I would probably not lean in-house or bring in one of those names who don't have head coaching experience. I would probably call somebody who isn't necessarily offensive-minded. I think I would get like a defensive-minded coach. Okay. I know Jack Del Rio is still available. I know, even if you want to lean towards coaches that have experience, you could bring in somebody like a Mike McCarthy. You can bring one of those personality coaches. But again,
Mike McCarthy, I'm not a fan of that one.
Although I do understand. I do get you.
I'm not a fan of that
get you.
Gotcha.
I'm not. It's not one that I'd say, hey, you got to go get him. Or
right.
Something like that. But I think it all starts from Jerry Jones releasing the reins of, all right, I'm gonna be overbearing. Mm-hmm. This is my team. It's my team. He got to take a step back
and let the coach coach.
He just needs to let the coach. I don't even think he should be the GM anymore.
Well, the GM, he is getting older, so it would be nice to see him. It would be I would understand if he would step back and relinquish some of that responsibility, maybe to his son Stephen Jones, who also is helping him co-own the team. He's done a really good job of putting the pieces together in Dallas. So it's not like he's been doing a bad job in that. But like you said, in terms of letting a coach and handle all the football stuff and not feeling like he has someone breathing down his neck.
Yeah, he needs somebody who, and that's why I say you bring in some big personality person. Like, for example, when Parcells was there, if you was to bring somebody like Parcells in, somebody who can hear you chirping behind him, but just simply does not care.
Right.
The problem is if you bring in somebody who's in-house, you're going to have the same results.
Right.
You bring somebody who's never had head coaching experience in the NFL, you're going to have the same results. You got to get somebody who is seasoned, who has had success here and there, but had their failures too, but they're a leader of men. Well, right now, I don't necessarily have a front-running name.
I don't. It's very vague right now.
Because it's a very tough job to take, given that Jerry Jones did. But he needs somebody who, similar to somebody like a Jimmy Johnson, who just has that ego that is there, but it's not, I'm just going to come here to butt heads. I'm about football. I can hear you. I don't care if you're here, but I'm going to do me.
That's exactly why I disagreed. I wasn't a big fan of the Mike McCarthy, even though you're not sitting here Mike McCarthy. But for me, I think from Jason Garrett to Mike McCarthy is somewhat of a lateral movement in terms of a personality. And I guess, we heard the talks back in Green Bay about him not being creative, so to speak, with the play calling and things of that nature. So, but then when you talk about a personality like a Jimmy Johnson, I would liken a Jimmy Johnson to a guy like a Sean Payton almost in terms of like a person.
And I've heard talks about them possibly wanting to get Sean Payton back on the staff.
But once again, remember what happened with Jimmy Johnson. Him and Jerry Jones butted heads on. Mind you, remember, this man brought 2 Super Bowls to the team. You understand? When he got fired, the team that won those Super Bowls were all still together.
He got fired after the Super Bowl.
He got fired.
They had just won back to back. And then it's
right after. But it was because of all the behind the scenes stuff in terms of just him and how do you explain that? How do you put that into a man that just delivered you 2 Super Bowls with a roster that's still intact, fresh off the, and you fire him just because you got like. All emotions and everything aside, business is business. Man just brought you 2 Super Bowls. I don't give a fuck how I feel about you. You're here to stay. You understand? So if that doesn't show you the kind of mindset and the man that Jerry Jones is, I'm not really sure what does. So like you said, I can't look at anybody in particular, point with them and be like, that's the guy. Except the only one in terms of the names that I've been hearing, based on everything that I think you would need to see a change in life in Dallas, is a guy like Urban Meyer. I don't know if Sean Payton coming to Dallas is contingent on what Drew Brees, for me, does after the season. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? It's kind of like a Popovich with Tim Duncan type situation where it's like they're linked to each other. When one goes, the other goes, right? So if Drew Brees decides, hey, I want to play for like another 2 years, Sean Payton ain't going nowhere. You understand? But if Drew Brees decides, this is it, Sean Payton, I think, will start to look into, I guess, the Dallas job will entertain.
All right, that's fair enough.
There you go.
That's fair enough. So would you say if they do get that different coach, they'll be able to make a playoff run?
Of course.
Next year, of course.
Of course. Yeah, if everyone stays healthy, I think, of course, we still have to take care of Dak, which will happen inevitably in the offseason. But I think that if everyone stays healthy and we're able to keep our main pieces, I'm not sure how many years is left on Cooper's contract. We were able to secure D-Law before the season, although he has been too impressive this season, unfortunately. We still got Byron Jones to worry about. Jalen Smith is secured, so that's very good. The one thing I'm concerned about that a lot of people aren't talking about because they're still a respectable unit, the O-line isn't looking the way that it's looked in past years. I'm a little bit nervous going into next season because some of these guys are getting Tyron Smith. Lael Collins has been dealing with some injury. Who else is there? Zach Martin had his fair share of injuries this season. And they play one of the more grueling positions in all of the sports. So moving forward, that's going to be a very big concern for me. I want to see how they play next season. But, if we're able to get the head coach that we need, and ultimately, like I said, we're able to keep everyone together and everyone stays healthy, playoff run most definitely. Because like I said, on paper, we are a Super Bowl team. You understand? Right. With a Super Bowl, fan. All right. You know what I'm saying? But no seriousness.
Much like Molly Quirm, let's switch gears here. And so tell me about this particular, because although Dallas, as abysmal as they've been, they still can make a playoff run. What do you think about the other teams this season? So who will ultimately win their divisions? Thus far, we already know that New Orleans has clinched the NFC South as of Thanksgiving. Right. So that remains with 7 different divisions. So we'll start NFC. Who do you think will win the NFC West? Right now it's really just a 3-team race because now that Arizona's been eliminated from last week. So you're looking at Seattle, San Francisco, and Los Angeles.
Okay, yeah, Los Angeles isn't making the playoffs. It's really, for me, it comes down to Seattle and the 49ers. We have now seen a chink in the 49ers armor. Once again, I give it back to you because I was on the hype train for the 49ers. I was like, oh no, it's a foregone conclusion. They're winning the NFC West. No question asked. You're like, nope, hold on. Too much football left to be played. Slow it down. Let's see how things play out. I think I'm going to have to switch my pick. I think that ultimately the Seahawks are going to come out. I'm going to come out on top and win the NFC West. I can't. I made a mistake in betting against that bad man that is Russell Wilson, and we can't deny how beautiful the tandem of Chris Carson and
Rashad Penny.
I love those guys. They're playing really well. I love
very good football.
Playing very, very good football right now. I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Seattle Seahawks team. They've been there before, right? They have all the pieces for me on both sides of the ball, so I'm going to go with them to win the NFC West. What's your pick?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. I'm rolling with Seattle. I've been saying Seattle's going to win it regardless of the fact how good San Francisco is. I do not believe San Francisco will be able to beat Seattle.
Okay.
Because Seattle walked into San Fran and walked out with the W, and then they're going to play them again at home.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't really easy, but I mean, they're gonna take care of business at home. I got Seattle winning that division. NFC South, we already know is clinched with
the NFC North.
NFC North, we're looking at Green Bay, which are now sitting at 8-3, and 8-4.
Right.
And no, they're 9-3. Pardon me. The Vikings are 8-4.
Got you.
Yeah,
okay.
The Vikings are 8-4.
So
they are one game behind, and I believe their first matchup, the Packers walked away with the W over the Vikings. So that's one of the reasons why they're ahead. But between those two teams, who do you see winning that division?
I'm going with I'm gonna run with Big Pac. I like what I've seen from this team. I've been very impressed with Matt. How you pronounce it? Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur. I'm gonna roll with Big Pac. Same reasoning for the Seattle Seahawks team. The fact of the matter is, I just can't see myself betting against that bad man that is Aaron Rodgers with a roster that is, they've been pretty impressive throughout the season. I have no faith whatsoever in Kirk Cousins, although he has looked impressive these past couple of games. So I'm going to stick with the Green Bay Packers, but I do believe that the Vikings, like the 49ers, will clinch the wild card. And yourself?
Yeah, I do believe that the Vikings will hold on to that 6th seed. I have the Packers winning this division as well. And I said from the beginning of the year I had them winning. I did not foresee the Vikings being this good, but I knew for a fact that the Bears weren't. As you remember when we did our picks before the season, I said the Bears would not go to the playoffs,
which is unfortunate.
So yeah, it is. But I got the Vikings, going on and winning this particular division. And pardon me, they're gonna get the wild card. But I have the Packers winning. I just that man Aaron Rodgers.
He's too bad. He played like me.
I do not see I don't see them losing again because who they have up next, they have the Redskins, then they have the Bears, but in Lambeau Field, then the Vikings in Minnesota, and finally they close out with the Lions. I think the Packers will run the table and finish 13-3. I think they'll be able to close it out. Although playing against the Vikings in Minnesota will be tough. If Adam Thielen is healthy, that can sway my decision. But ultimately, I think they'll be able to put
what's he injured with right now?
Hamstring.
Got you.
And he's been out for a few games now.
Got you.
I'm leading with the Packers to win, and then ultimately, we spoke about the NFC East already. So I say the Eagles, but then you say
why the Eagles again? You feel like
I think the final 4 games, they're 4 winnable games. Although they should have beat Miami and they didn't. I think the Eagles will be able to. I think they'll win 3 of their last 4. In contrast to the Cowboys winning 2 of their last 4, and ultimately those 2 games that they lose, 1 will be against the Eagles. So they'll end with the exact same record. Now, if we transitioned like Bruce Jenner to the AFC, AFC South, very tight knit race. You got the Houston Texans now sitting at 8-4. Pardon me, 9-4. Is it? No. Yeah, 8-4. Then you have the Tennessee Titans right behind them
What's
at
the
7-5.
7-5 for the
7-5 for the Tennessee Titans. Then you have 6-6 with the pardon me. I think it might be 7.
You want me to check?
Yeah, I think it's 6-6 with the Indianapolis Colts. Oakland Raiders are sitting at 6-6 as well.
So Texans 8-4.
Oakland Raiders is in the West. Pardon me, but yeah, it is the Texans
8-4.
Titans
at
7-5.
Colts
and then the Colts are 6-6.
Right.
So it's a very tight knit race. However, the Colts just lost back-to-back divisional games. They lost to the Texans on Thursday night, and then they fell to the Titans on Sunday. So right now, it's looking like it might just be clipped for them.
Gotcha.
So their only chance is to get into the wild card. But when it it comes to that division, seeing how impressive the Texans have been playing, man, you know what? I might just have to roll with them. I think Tennessee could mess around and sneak up on them, but right now, the Texans, they firing on all cylinders. I'm going to roll with Houston to go and win that division.
It's tough for me because I love although Deshaun Watson, to me, and I told you this before, it seems like whenever D-Hop isn't able to get off, Deshaun Watson is kind of just sitting there, not looking as impressive as we know he can be. I'm gonna agree with you with that as well. I think I'm gonna roll with the Texans. Although, don't sleep. I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans were able to find a way to sneak up in there, because Derrick Henry has been playing his ass off all season long.
Oh, he has.
Ryan Tannehill has been holding it. Was he now?
6-1.
6-1. And I said, remember,
5-1.
I'm going to be the one to swallow my words. I went on record to say, hey, man, I don't really know how I feel about Tannehill. And week in and week out, he has showed up and showed out, because Marcus Mariota was just there. I don't know what was going on with Marcus Mariota. The man, it's been sad. It's very unfortunate with him. But I think that ultimately the Texans are going to pull through. I think it really depends on whatever their schedule is looking like. Because who do the Titans have for the rest of the season?
The Titans, the rest of the way, they're probably, I think they're in a favorable situation. I know they should be seeing Houston one more time.
Okay.
And I think they have already defeated
Jacksonville
twice.
They got the Texans, then they have the Saints, then they have the Texans again.
Oh, they have to play the Texans twice.
No. Wait, I'm bugging. So they got 4 games. They got the Raiders tomorrow.
Okay, that's a must.
Then the Texans, then the Saints, then the Texans again.
So they haven't played the Texans yet
at all.
Oh, so the entire decision, the entire division is entirely down to those 2 games. All right, so if it comes down to, you know what? I'm still going to roll with Houston to win, because I do believe Houston will beat them twice.
Really?
So, no, not twice. I think they'll beat them once. I think they'll beat them once. I think in Tennessee will take that W.
Okay.
But the final game, where is it being played?
The final game is at Texan Stadium.
It's in Houston. Okay, it's at NRG. Yeah, the Texans going to win.
Okay,
because I think there'll still be a 1-game differential, and I think Houston will get got when they're playing in Tennessee, but I cannot foresee them, beating the Texans twice. And on top of that, they got to go on the road to go into NRG and try to beat the Texans at home. I believe at the last game of the season, both these teams will be sitting at 10-5. No, not 10-5. I think they'll be sitting at 9-6. And then ultimately, it'll come down to whoever the hell wins. If Tennessee wins that game, hey, they go into the playoffs. They win the division. But for Houston's case, if they lose, they're not going to win the division. But depending on how the wild card plays out, perhaps they can. Gotcha. Now, when we talk about divisional sort of thing, where the division is still somewhat tight, you got to look at that AFC East, where for the first time in a very long time, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. The Bills sitting at 9-3. The Patriots sitting at 10-2. The Bills control their entire destiny. Because right now they still have up this week they're playing against Baltimore. Then next week they're playing against Pittsburgh. So these are both playoff teams. Then they still got New England one more time, and then close out with the Jets.
So two
back-to-back divisional games. But all these games on how the Ravens, I should say how the Bills have been playing, they're all winnable games. Josh Allen has turned me into a little bit of a believer, and I think the Bills can get it done. However, I do not think they will get it done. I'm still choosing the Patriots to win this division.
You would have to pay me quite a bit of money to bet against the Patriots, even though they haven't. Some would say that this is probably the worst roster, one of the, if not
in some time. But then again, we were saying the same thing for last year's team,
and they showed up when it mattered most and made us all swallow our words. So ultimately, I'm not gonna bet against a Bill Belichick led team. I'm not gonna bet against Tom Brady. But I will say that yes, this Buffalo Bills team has shocked all of us. I think what's his name, Mike Robb of NFL Network. He came out from the beginning and said that the Bills were gonna win NFC East, and we all thought he was insane. And now they're looking pretty good. Like you said, the Ravens game, they can win that because they're playing that at home. So I think that's a winnable game. The Steelers game, they're playing at Heinz Field. So that's one that might be a toss-up because Steelers have looked impressive, even with the injuries and things like that. The Patriots game is interesting because that's at the Patriots. So even though it's at Patriots, I'd still like the Bills' chances because they looked impressive against them the first go-around. So let's see how it comes together now, especially since, as of late, the Patriots have been teetering. And then the Jets, I think that's a winnable game in itself. So we'll see, but ultimately, I'm going to give it to the Patriots.
Yeah, I'll give it to the Patriots. Now, if you look at the AFC West, this is because it's a 2-team race. All right, Denver, they're in the Death Note. All right, well, at least they're headed to the Death Note. And then the Chargers, they go in as well. Right? So it's down to the Raiders and those Gruden grinders and the Kansas City Chiefs where it's free real estate. Here is where things get interesting. Take a look at the last 4 games for Kansas City. Because for the Raiders right now, they lost to Kansas City twice, right? So there is no tie-breaking situation. But there's a 2-game differential because the Chiefs are sitting at 8-4. The Raiders are sitting at 6-6. The only way the Raiders can get it is if they win 4 consecutive games and they close out at 10-6, and the Chiefs must lose 3 of their next 4.
And now, given that you need both those things to happen, do you think it'll happen? Because I don't.
Because look at the final right 4 now for the Raiders, right? You're playing against a surging Tennessee team.
Yep.
Right? At home, though.
Yep.
Derek Carr is 8-1 at home.
Okay.
In his last, 9 home starts. So the last 8 home starts, he's 7-1.
Got you.
Right? So when he plays at home, this is a game that they probably gonna win. I'm choosing Oakland to win this game. They're hosting the Jags.
Yeah.
I think they can win that game.
Easy.
They're going to Los Angeles to play against the Chargers. They can win that game. And they close out against the Broncos. They can win that game.
But then when you look at the Chiefs' schedule, right? The Chiefs, they got the Patriots tomorrow. The Chiefs can lose that game.
In Foxborough.
Then they play the Broncos. That's a division game. That's home at Arrowhead, though.
Arrowhead. That's one game that they can walk away with the W.
It could go either way.
Yep.
It could go either way. Then they got the Bears, but that's at Soldier Field.
And still, it's you don't fear the Bears offense, but it's in Soldier Field, right? The Chiefs' defense continues to be abysmal.
Terrible.
And you can run the football against their team.
Right.
The Bears, if they get the opportunity to run the football, they're a different football team.
They are. And you saw, even though it was against my Cowboys, when Mitchell Trubisky got back to his normal legs, he's very effective.
He can be dangerous.
He can very dangerous.
Now you're looking at and close out the season against
the Chargers.
Against the Chargers, who at this point, it'll probably look like this is Phillip Rivers' last hurrah. Yeah. So for the Raiders, they have 4 games where you look at it like, wait a minute, there's a couple of you don't know, but it can be done.
Right.
The Raiders, they have hope. The Gruden grinders can possibly make the playoff, but they won't because the Chiefs. I think they're.
Why'd you do? Wait, you did all that? Just goddamn.
You're
terrible.
Of their final.
You're terrible.
I think they're gonna close out the season.
This man is an
at
asshole.
10-6.
You didn't have to do all that just to.
The Raiders will go out valiantly at a 9-7 or 8-8, but unfortunately they won't be able to.
The hope and the optimism that was in your voice. You just don't. It's over.
It's a shame.
Take that out of love. It's over, brother. It's one of those.
Yeah, by week 16, we'll know because there'll still be a game differential, and there's nothing that Oakland can do.
Even though winning is the only thing that matters in the league, I will say that regardless of what happens with the Raiders, I am thoroughly impressed with the way that they improved the season, and their future is very bright.
Absolutely, Josh Jacobs is the offensive rookie of the year. I don't care what anybody says.
He's the first rookie in Raiders history to rush for 1,000 yards.
Yes, indeed.
And I think he's like top 5 in rushing.
Oh, without question, he is right now. Yeah, he is balling.
He's balling.
Balling.
Man, I like this team.
Kudos to Mike McCoy, man.
Yeah,
that man.
Mike McCoy. What is it? Mike Mayock.
Mayock. I said McCoy. Mayock. Yeah, he's getting the job done.
He's come in and he's showed up. He's definitely there. All right, so
and last but not least, that AFC North. Right, between the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Let me see what's going on.
All right, because in the last 4 games for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're playing against Arizona, which is a trap game tomorrow. That is a game in which you should look at it and say, oh, Pittsburgh got in the bag. Oh, no. There's a possibility they could possibly be upset in Arizona. Yeah. In Arizona. So that's one where you'll sit there and it could give you some cause to pause. And then after that, they're playing at home against the Bills. Now, had they been going to Buffalo, that could be a very tough one. But still, the Bills are very capable. They can walk into your house and take care of business.
Right.
But who knows? The strength of Pittsburgh is their defense. The strength of Buffalo is also their defense,
why you saying
too.
It like that?
So we'll see. What are we talking?
The strength.
Why
are you saying it like
you got to put some emphasis on it. The strength
right,
of their team. So, and with the way the division looking at right now, Baltimore, they have a 2.5 game lead. Or matter of fact, 3.5 game lead because they're 10-2. Pittsburgh's 7-5. So really, all they have to do is just get to 11 wins, and they can get away with the division. In the case of, well, really just win 2 more games and then get to 12, and they have the division in the bag. But their final 4 games, I know, for the Ravens, I know they have to play Cleveland once more.
So tomorrow they play the Bills.
Yes.
That's at Bills.
Yep.
Then after that, they're playing home against the Jets. Then they play the Browns at the Brown Stadium, and then they close out the Steelers, but that's at home.
Yes.
At M&T
so
Bank
the way
Stadium.
that's looking, that final week, it'll only be implications for who gets the first round bye, and most likely that'll be them and New England. But given that they have already beaten New England, if they have a game lead on the Patriots, it's already done deal.
Gotcha.
So do you still play your starters just to play spoiler to Pittsburgh? But we'll find out when that happens. But ultimately, Baltimore wins the division. I don't think there's a circumstance in which they fall off the cliff, because I do feel as if they still are due for a losing streak, because it always happens in the AFC North, and people start losing games when they need to win.
Got you.
But I think it's a far-gone conclusion. Baltimore wins this division.
Most definitely.
They'll clinch it in 2 weeks.
I agree with that as well. And then I think that's it, right? In terms of all the divisions.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other division.
Now, in terms of the wild card, that's where it gets interesting. Because like I said, in the NFC, for me personally, when I look at the NFC, I think that it's
already a done deal with who's in there. San Francisco and Minnesota.
San Francisco and Minnesota got it locked down for the most part. With the Minnesota and the Packers, that it could, depending on how the rest of the games play out, it could flip-flop, and maybe Minnesota comes out and win the division. And then, the Green Bay Packers gets it. But ultimately, for me, I think we both agree, right? It comes down to Minnesota or Packers for one of the spots, and then the other one, it's the 49ers got it locked.
Because the Rams are a game out at 7-5, behind Minnesota, and they're not anywhere near San Francisco because they only got 2 losses, so there's no way they're going to catch up there. But the only other team in the NFC, you're looking at the Panthers and Bucks are both 5-7. It's clipped. There's no way that they're going to get there. The Bears sitting at 7-6. And the Rams at 7-5. So since Minnesota is sitting at 8-4, they just got to do their best job to make sure they don't take a dip. Because the Bears playing in desperation, they feel as if 10-6 is going to be that final wild card spot. That's where it's going to be at. So I cannot envision the Rams not losing more than 2 games left because they've only got 5 losses. And since the Bears already have 6 losses, I don't think they're going to be able to win their final 3 games with, no sort of struggle. So ultimately, I think it's going to stick at where it's at with the 49ers and the Vikings.
Got you. Fair enough.
And in the AFC,
that's where it gets interesting.
That's where it does get interesting because the Bills sitting at 9-3, but they have a tough schedule to close because Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and New England. Then in the wild card underneath them in the 6th spot, you have Pittsburgh, and then waiting is Tennessee and Oakland. Also Indianapolis, which I don't think Indianapolis will be able to make it. I think that those losses that they had in division, and they've had a ton of AFC losses, so it's kind of tough.
Right.
But from where it sits, the Bills are almost in a situation where they can drop out. I think the AFC, it will be in the wild card, Pittsburgh and Tennessee.
Really?
I think Pittsburgh and Tennessee are going to make the playoffs.
Interesting.
I think the Bills will fall out.
You don't think that within the last stretch of their couple of games, they're not going to be able to keep this up?
I think it's all depending on how they play against Baltimore.
Okay.
If they put up a very good fight against Baltimore till the end, I think they beat Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And they say, all right, well, we may have lost to Baltimore, but we beat Pittsburgh. We're probably going to kick them out, and we're going to cement ourselves a playoff spot here. Because if they do put up a great fight against Baltimore, I cannot envision them not being able to beat Pittsburgh.
Got you. Now, if they get shellacked, it's over.
Yeah, exactly. If they get shellacked, I think it's over.
Got you.
I think they started to feel themselves, and now you not only are you playing, I believe this game is in Baltimore, now you have to travel again to go to Pittsburgh, and then you got to travel again to go to Foxborough. You're staying away from your home game, or you're staying away from Ralph Wilson Stadium the entire time. So you're on the road to close out the season. Because of that, I think it's extremely tough for them. So although I started to now believe in the Bills, I do not think it's all depending on how this upcoming game is. For the Raiders, as I said, I think they can close out at like a 9-7. But for Tennessee, I think Tennessee will. They're going to lose against the Raiders here, in my opinion. Okay. So honestly, it all comes down to the same. Who comes down with the final, record? If the Tennessee ends with 10 wins, they're going to the playoffs. I think Pittsburgh and Tennessee will both close out their seasons with 10 wins, and I think the Raiders would just just be on the outside looking in at 9-7.
I'll give you that. Although, only thing I would switch, I agree with the Tennessee point, and I see where you're coming from, the Steelers point, but there's something about this Bills team, man. The way that they're rumbling, the way that they're moving forward. I don't believe that they're going to beat the Ravens, and I'm not sure how they're going to progress in terms of the couple other games they play after that. But I like what I'm seeing from Josh Allen, the tandem of Mike Singletary and the veteran that is Frank Gore and everything.
Devin Singletary.
Devin? Wasn't it Mike?
Mike Singletary played linebacker for the Chicago.
I know him, but it was Devin. Sorry, I mixed it up. Same person, condition, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I like this Buffalo Bills team a little bit more than I like this Pittsburgh Steelers team. But for me, like I said, it's so
that could be my bias. That could be my bias.
No, we know it is.
No,
we know it is.
No.
We know it is.
Because initially I said they would not, regardless of the fact they were winning games, I said I don't think they're going to be able to make it to the postseason. But then they've since made me believe.
Gotcha.
Because it reminds me so much of that 2005 Steelers team. And not to say, oh, well, they're going to go from the wild card and get to the Super Bowl. No, that's not what I'm saying. But the way that when it's desperation and you need a win, things are slowly swinging in their favor. It's very odd how it plays out. Even the game against the Browns, where you're down 10-0, and all of a sudden you're able to flip that into 20, I think it was 17 unanswered points. And it's just, where did this come from?
Right.
And every single game against the Rams, you were able to make the right adjustments and you go out there and you play good football. It's just something about, even with the Bills, I feel the same way, but with the 3 remaining games, and you play against a Baltimore team that really is just trying to make sure that New England doesn't get another opportunity to have a home bye.
Right.
And then you have a Pittsburgh team that's extremely desperate. And then you're playing against a Patriot team that just refute. Tom Brady does not lose to the Bills.
He doesn't.
So because of that, God, I think the Bills might just when I started to believe, and now I'm looking at the schedule, I don't know. But I could be wrong.
It's either, it could go either way.
Yeah, I think I think Tennessee will make it without question. I think Tennessee will be in the playoffs, but the final slot, Bills or Pittsburgh.
Got you.
Bills or Pittsburgh.
It's also
but Oakland, they'll be just on the outside, just standing there looking out my window,
getting ready for next season. Just be that simple. But now,
absolutely,
when we're looking at everything, we have to talk about the playoffs, who's winning their division, wild card. It all comes down to one thing. Everyone's playing for one thing, man. It's that Lombardi.
Absolutely.
That Lombardi trophy. Everyone's looking to hoist it up. Given what you're seeing, still a lot of football left to be played, right? We still got to wait to see how everything turns out. But based on everything that you're seeing, everything that you're feeling, what you're seeing individually from each team, who are your favorites to make it to the Super Bowl in the AFC and the NFC? We could start with the NFC.
I'll say in the NFC, there's 3 teams that catch my eye. You have New Orleans, I have Seattle, and I have New Orleans, Seattle, and also Green Bay.
Easy,
and the only reason why I leave San Francisco on the outside is because I think that since they're going to have that 5 seed, so they'll play against the NFC East, they'll take care of business. But Seattle San Francisco on the road, going against most likely the 1 seed that will be either New Orleans or Seattle.
Right.
I think. Well,
most likely New Orleans.
New Orleans beat Seattle already. So I think most likely be New Orleans. I do not think they're going to go into New Orleans and get that W. So I think regardless of the fact that they'll probably be a 5 seed that's 13-3, they're going to lose in that divisional round. Okay. At least that's just where I think they fall. So my pick is between, and I think Green Bay will be scary good. I don't think Seattle's going to make it to the Super Bowl because I feel like their defense is going to let them down.
Okay.
And I think they're going to fail them when when Russell Wilson will put them back in the game, and all of a sudden their defense will fold and set up the opposing team for a game-winning field goal. I think New Orleans or Green Bay goes to the Super Bowl, and in the AFC, Baltimore, unless of course they find themselves in a situation playing against a wild card team in the divisional who have seen them before. I think if they were to play Pittsburgh in the divisional round and Pittsburgh somehow makes it out of the wild card and makes the divisional, I think because the 2 teams are very familiar with each other, it can be a little bit.
So now going back to, before I make a question you about the AFC one, going back to the NFC, right? I agree with your picks, right? Ultimately for me, it comes down to the New Orleans Saints or the Green Bay Packers, right? Now for me personally, I don't know if you had to choose between the 2. For me personally, I'm going to roll with the New Orleans Saints because, like I said, I think that this is Drew Brees' last hurrah. Yeah. And for me, from the beginning of the season up until the end, remember when they had the injury with Drew Brees? He was out for 6 games. Then Teddy Bridgewater stepped in. It showed you one thing that I've been echoing from the beginning of the season up until now. This is a complete team from top to bottom.
Absolutely.
They have all the requisite pieces that they need to get the job done. They had it last year, but ultimately we saw what happened with the uncalled PI and everything else. But they still, to this point, even after losing a Mark Ingram, because remember, the talk of last year was also the tandem between Kamara and Mark Ingram and things like that. But ultimately, they still have everything that they need this year to win it all. I think that ultimately, the New Orleans Saints will be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. If you had to choose between the two, who would you go with?
I'd probably lean more towards New Orleans. Initially, I was going to lean towards Green Bay and say Green Bay's got it. But you know what? It just feels like it's destiny. New Orleans got screwed a couple of times, and now
first time with the Williams kid with the tackle on
Diggs, and then
second time with the
call. So
this is the year, man.
This is the year.
This has to be the year.
And they're going to get screwed in the Super Bowl. So I'm saying they're going to make it. I think they're going to the Super Bowl.
Got you. Now in the AFC, you said something that's very interesting.
Baltimore and New England. Those two are my picks, but for some apparent reason, I can't pick Baltimore to be they're my front runner and my favorite out of the AFC to go, but I just don't think they're going to be able to make it.
Okay.
Because for some apparent reason in the AFC, the past couple of years, the best team has not made it to the Super Bowl. It's very odd. Outside of the 2017 where the Patriots did go, but then some can argue that 2017 Steelers team was better than the 2017 Patriots team, but then the Steelers defense completely fell off the map after the Shazier injury. So then at that point, the Jags hung something on them. But then you look at last year's Chiefs. Defensively, they failed them. The Ravens are looking extremely solid, but I think if they play the Patriots again, but the Patriots have the 1 seed, that's why it's imperative that the Ravens do not lose again, because although they beat the Patriots, they're at the same record now. So it's a battle between the two of them who can lose more games. Yeah. And if the Ravens do not get the 1 seed.
Who has the number 2 seed, if you know?
The 2 seed is the Patriots.
Okay, so it's between those two. So right now, it's the Ravens have the number 1 seed.
It's the Ravens number 1 and the Patriots number 2. So if the Patriots get the 1 seed, they're going to the Super Bowl. So you're not going to beat them in Gillette. I honestly think if the Ravens were to go play against the Patriots in Gillette right now, it's not going to happen. And they're not even afraid of playing there.
Not at all.
But it's the fact that it's the playoffs and it's in Gillette. And they've beaten them twice in Gillette.
Right.
But it's just something about this time around. Now you give Belichick an opportunity to make adjustants. I don't think they're going to be able to beat them.
So essentially, basically, it's just a battle for the number 1 seed.
It's a battle of the 1 seed. If Baltimore has, sole possession of home field advantage through the playoffs, Baltimore's going to the Super Bowl.
Got you.
But if they're not the number 1 seed, I don't think it's going to happen, man.
So essentially what you're saying is it's looking like New Orleans versus the New England Patriots.
Absolutely.
Or the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
One of the two.
Maybe, you know what? A lot of times they say the postseason is the start of a new season. Maybe, just maybe,
Kansas City.
Just maybe, my Cowboys, they come back and they turn it around. Maybe, hold on, hear me out now. Don't take the headphones off. I need you to hear what I'm saying. Listen, hold on. Maybe, they're able to do it. They're able to do the unthinkable. 8-8 and a Super Bowl run. Shitting me. I wouldn't. Listen, hold on now. Big Dak. Hey, Big Zeke. I don't know if you can hear me. Just put your headphones back on, brother. Listen, I would not be surprised. Dak has looked impressive in the playoffs, minus the Rams game. I think that if Zeke Elliott, Cooper, listen, that new season.
So with the MVP race,
new
right
season.
Now, right? So you have there's some impressive names in the MVP race.
Okay.
You're looking at Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
You're looking at Russell Wilson, Michael Thomas, Christian McCaffrey.
Yes, sir.
And Patrick Mahomes, for what reason, I don't know why he's still in the race here. But I think it's a 4-person race. And more importantly, it's just a 4-person race on paper. But ultimately, it's those two quarterbacks between Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson.
It's unfortunate that your twin brother, Michael Thomas, it doesn't seem like he's been ridiculous this season. But, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so between Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson, I have Jackson slightly above Russell Wilson. Because all season I said Russell Wilson's the MVP. And it's not even close. And then these past couple of games, this 8-game winning streak, Lamar Jackson has been looking ridiculous.
Right.
So because of that, I slightly have him above. But ultimately, I think
it's LJ's to lose, man.
It's looking like it's Lamar Jackson's to lose right now. And I'd have no problem if there was a co-MVP right now, but we haven't seen that since 2003. So from where we're sitting right now, I think it's Lamar Jackson.
It's Lamar Jackson's to lose. I think he's ultimately going to come out with it on top because on top of what we've seen from both of them throughout the season, they both have had unbelievable seasons. I think more so, it comes down to also the story. We have a player in a Lamar Jackson who coming into the NFL. A lot of people, there were talks about him switching positions because there were questions about his throwing ability, right? First season he comes in a little bit later on in the season because of a Joe Flacco injury or something like that?
Yes.
Razzles,
week 9, his back.
Razzles and dazzles his team's way to the playoffs, where ultimately he just stunk it up and just shrunk under the pressure of the playoffs. So we were questioning what was going to happen coming into this season, and he looked new and improved. He's shown that he could improve. He improved his ability to throw the football, but at the same time still stayed true to what made him dynamic, effective, and ultimately the playmaker that he is, which is his legs. And since then, this team, much like the Seattle Seahawks have been doing around Russell Wilson, has rallied around this man and his ability. And they have made it very clear he's the guy. He's the face of this organization. He's the leader of his own. And he's getting ready to. He looks like he's getting ready to break Vic's.
Single season rush record.
I don't know.
Hell, Josh Allen might just get him too. Who knows?
They're there. They're right there. But
Allen would have to rush for a lot of yards.
But he could do it if he wanted to. But this team has gone all in on Lamar Jackson. They built this roster for this young man to succeed, and he's shown up and shown out. I think ultimately it's like I said, it's his award to lose. If he stinks it up anywhere along, it's still very close though, in the sense that all it'll take is this much because there are still people that put Russell Wilson just this much above Lamar Jackson. So it's neck to neck to where we're really going to watch every single throw, every play, every game. And it's going to come down to the wire. But ultimately, because of the story and because I think that this Baltimore Ravens team is going to stay on this hot streak, I think it's Lamar Jackson's to lose.
Fair enough. My only thing is, for Baltimore's sake, they had better hope that he does not win the MVP. Okay. Because we have seen since, when was the last time the MVP won the Super Bowl?
That's true.
It's been some time. Because the last person to win the MVP and win the Super Bowl has been a long time ago. Because let's take a look. You have Patrick Mahomes. Did they win the Super Bowl? No. Tom Brady won in 2017. Who won? The Eagles. Yeah. Who won in 2016? Matt Ryan. They lost. Yeah. Cam Newton. They lost. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers. They ain't even make it. Yeah. Peyton Manning. They lost. Yeah. Adrian Peterson. They ain't even make it. Aaron Rodgers. They ain't even make it. Tom Brady in 2010. Ain't make it. 9. Peyton Manning. He lost. 2008. Did they make it? No. Tom Brady. Did they win? No, they lost. LaDainian Tomlinson. Lost. Shaun Alexander. Lost. Peyton Manning. Ain't even make it. Steve McNair. Ain't even make it. Peyton Manning again, lost. Rich Gannon, when he lost. Kurt Warner, lost. Marshall Faulk, lost. And then it's Kurt Warner in 1999. It's been a very long time.
It's been since 1999.
This side of the millennium, if you win the MVP, your team is doomed to lose either in the Super Bowl or you don't even make it
at all. Well, maybe he might just be the first since Kurt to make it. We don't know, but even though I am a Cowboys fan, I love what I'm seeing for this young man, and I'm definitely rooting for him. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that concludes this episode of the Hold My Nuggets podcast. As always, I am your man, Marv Glover.
I'm surprised he didn't say natural born lover, tuck a baby.
I'm a professional. I never say any of that stuff. Whenever I ever said that.
All right. Well, now we know we don't tuck any children under covers, Woody Allen. But of course, if you didn't know, get familiar. I am the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual. Chiseled or done.
And this is the Hold My Nuggets podcast here where we talk 50% sports, 50% real shit, 100% of the time. And if you don't like that, you can hold my nuggets.
Suck my dick.
Thank you. Good night.